All right, so you know how sometimes there's like big news and you kind of think to yourself like, okay, I need
Yeah.
I need like the fast track to understanding what this really means.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going deep
It
into
is.
like a significant development in the way that we all like get our homes
Yeah.
sorted,
Sure.
everything from a leaky faucet to like a full home makeover.
Yeah, that's right. And that development is urban companies' very deliberate move toward going public
Okay.
through an IPO, an initial public offering.
Right. So we've been sifting through like, a recent regulatory filing,
Hmm.
the official paperwork,
Yes,
and some really interesting reporting by FinTrack
for sure.
to bring you the key insights.
Absolutely.
Our mission here is to cut through the jargon
Yes.
and understand what this IPO push signifies,
Right.
not just for Urban Company,
Hmm.
but for this whole world of on-demand home services.
The whole space. Yeah.
So, okay, what is the first, crucial piece of information?
Yeah. So the first thing that really jumps out is that Urban Company has secured formal approval to raise about 528 crore rupees.
Whoa. Okay, that is
A
a
lot.
considerable amount of capital.
It is.
Just for our listeners who are maybe more familiar with dollars,
Yes.
that's roughly like $60.6 million.
Yes. A good chunk of change.
So this isn't just about, changing their status on paper
Right.
to a public company.
Yeah.
This involves a significant, influx of new funds directly into the business.
Exactly. And that funding is specifically earmarked to support the upcoming IPO process
Okay.
and then to fuel the company's growth initiatives once they are publicly listed.
I see.
And, it's worth noting this wasn't just like a quick decision.
Yeah.
They got approval for this from their shareholders through a special resolution.
Oh, wow.
So it shows strong internal consensus.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
So this move to go public isn't happening like in isolation, is it?
Not at all. This IPO push follows their recent conversion into a public company.
Oh, so they've already made a significant structural change.
They have.
When did this happen?
This happened back in February of this year, 2025.
Okay.
And as part of that process, they also changed their name.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You might remember them as Urban Kelp Technologies India Private Limited,
Right.
but they are now officially Urban Clap Technologies India Limited.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a very common step.
Yeah.
Companies preparing for a public listing.
Makes sense.
Just a little bit cleaner, a little bit more streamlined.
Yeah, getting ready for the bigger stage.
Exactly.
And the next major document we should all be keeping an eye out for
Yeah.
is the DRHP.
Yes. The draft red herring prospectus.
Okay, break that down for us a little bit.
So think of the DRHP as like Urban Company's official coming out party
Okay.
to potential investors.
Okay.
This is where they lay all their cards on the table.
That's-
They're going
oh.
to detail their business model, financial performance, potential risks, growth strategies.
Got it.
So investors can make informed decisions about whether or not they want to buy in.
Makes sense.
And our sources suggest that they are expected to file this crucial document with SEBI very soon,
SEBI.
the Securities and Exchange Board of India.
So that's like the regulatory body for the Indian stock market,
That's exactly right.
making sure everything's above board.
Precisely. SEBI is essentially the watchdog for the Indian stock market,
Yeah.
making sure companies follow the rules and that investors are protected.
Got it.
So the DRHP is a key document that SEBI will be reviewing.
Now, Urban Company has a history of attracting investment.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't exactly bootstrapped their way to this point.
No, not at all.
To date, Urban Company has raised over $450 million in funding
Wow.
through various rounds.
That's significant.
That is a significant level of investor confidence
Mhm.
accumulated over time.
For sure.
Were there any particular funding rounds that were especially noteworthy?
Yeah, so the $255 million Series F funding round back in 2021 was a really big one.
Okay.
That was a huge injection of capital that likely fueled a lot of their expansion and service diversification.
I see.
And then more recently, just last year, they completed a $63 million secondary round.
Now, a secondary round,
Yeah.
just to clarify for everyone,
Yes,
that's when existing shareholders sell their shares
that's right.
rather than the company issuing new ones.
Exactly.
So the money doesn't go directly into Urban Company's coffers
Correct.
in that case.
Yes. It allows early investors or employees to cash out some of their holdings.
Okay.
But these rounds often provide a good indication of the company's current valuation.
So in this case, what was Urban Company's estimated worth at the time of that $63 million secondary round?
At that time, they were valued at a very substantial $2.2 billion.
Wow. So they're already a very highly valued entity
Yes.
entering this IPO process.
Right.
That puts them in a certain bracket
For sure.
of companies.
Hmm.
It's always interesting to look at, like, who are the major financial backers?
Absolutely. Who are the people writing the checks?
Who are the key external investors in Urban Company?
So according to data from The Credible, the largest external stakeholder is Excel,
Okay.
which is a very well-known venture capital firm.
Mm-hmm.
And following them in terms of significant holdings are VY Capital
Okay.
and Elevation.
I see.
Those are all very established names in the investment world.
Yeah.
And their substantial stakes really underscore a strong belief in Urban Company's growth potential.
Okay, so we've got the IPO plans, we've got the recent shift to a public company,
Mm-hmm.
we've got a significant funding history,
Yes,
and some really major investors on board.
absolutely.
But for anyone listening who might not be a regular user, let's just take a step back
Yeah.
and briefly explain what Urban Company actually does.
For sure.
How would you describe their business model?
So at its heart, Urban Company is a technology platform that connects skilled and verified service professionals
Okay.
with customers seeking a wide array of at-home services.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as a digital marketplace
Okay.
that brings reliable help right to your doorstep.
And what kind of services are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Is it mostly like standard home repairs and maintenance?
So while repairs and maintenance are definitely a big part of what they offer,
Okay.
plumbing, electrical work,
Mm-hmm.
painting, pest control,
Yeah.
their scope is actually much broader than that.
Okay.
They also provide a range of home cleaning services.
Okay.
And importantly, they've expanded quite significantly into beauty and grooming services.
Interesting.
So you can book anything from a carpenter to a facial
Wow.
through their platform.
That's a pretty comprehensive offering.
It is.
And their reach isn't just limited to 1 or 2 cities in India, is it?
No, their operational footprint is quite extensive.
Okay.
They operate in more than 60 cities across India,
Mm-hmm.
the UAE, and Singapore.
So they've established a pretty significant international presence
They have.
in a relatively short amount of time
Yes.
to deliver all these services across such a wide area.
Mm-hmm.
They must have a pretty substantial network of
Yes.
professionals on their platform.
Yeah, they have around 55,000 service professionals in their network.
Wow, that's a
That's a lot of folks.
good significant workforce.
It is a huge workforce.
Okay, so we have a good understanding of what Urban Company does,
Yeah.
the scale at which they operate.
Mm-hmm.
Now let's talk about the really crucial aspect.
Right.
For any company considering going public,
Yes.
their financial performance.
Yeah. Show me the money.
How have they been doing recently?
This is where things get really interesting and encouraging.
Okay.
For the fiscal year that concluded in March of 2024,
Mm-hmm.
Urban Company reported some really noteworthy financial highlights.
All right, let's hear the numbers.
Okay.
What kind of growth are we seeing in their core business?
So they achieved a very robust 30% year-on-year growth
Wow.
in their operating revenue, reaching a total of 827 crore rupees.
Okay, a 30% jump in revenue is certainly impressive.
It is.
But the big question for many tech companies,
Mhm.
especially those moving towards an IPO,
Yeah.
is about their losses.
Right? Are they making money?
What's the picture there?
That's right. And this is another significant positive development.
Oh.
During that same fiscal year,
Yeah.
Urban Company managed to really substantially reduce their losses.
Okay.
They achieved a remarkable 70% decrease,
Wow.
bringing those losses down to 93 crore
A
rupees.
70% reduction in losses is huge.
It's massive.
It really suggests they're not just growing, their top line,
Yeah,
but they're also becoming significantly more efficient
Right.
in managing their costs.
absolutely.
This is the kind of progress that excites potential investors.
Yes, this is what they want to see.
As a company heads towards an IPO.
Yeah, exactly. It paints a very compelling picture of a company that's maturing,
Mm-hmm.
demonstrating improved financial discipline,
Okay.
and moving closer to actually achieving profitability.
That makes sense.
Yeah. This narrative is key in attracting those public market investors.
So if we step back and look at the bigger picture,
Yes.
what would you say are the most important takeaways
Yeah.
for someone trying to grasp the significance of this
Okay.
based on all this information we just talked about?
So the key takeaways are severalfold.
Okay.
Number one, Urban Company has officially initiated its IPO journey.
Mhm.
They have a substantial primary fundraise approved, signaling serious intent.
Right.
Number two, Their recent conversion to a public company back in February
Okay.
was a crucial precursor,
Right.
streamlining their structure for the public markets.
Right.
Number three, they have a strong foundation of backing from
Yeah.
very well-established venture capital firms
Mm.
and a proven track record of raising significant capital in private markets. Number four, their core business model effectively connects a vast network of service professionals
Mm-hmm.
with a wide range of at-home service needs across multiple geographies,
Right.
demonstrating scalability.
Right.
And perhaps most critically,
Yeah.
their recent financial performance shows strong momentum with significant revenue growth coupled with a dramatic reduction in losses,
Right.
indicating a clear path towards sustainability.
So it sounds like Urban Company is very strategically positioning itself
Yes,
for this transition to the public market.
for sure.
It'll be interesting to watch how their IPO process unfolds
Yeah,
and how the broader market responds
absolutely.
to a home services marketplace of this scale going public.
It's a big deal, and it really prompts an important question for you, the listener.
Okay.
What are the potential implications of a home services platform like Urban Company
Yeah.
actually becoming a publicly traded entity?
Mm-hmm.
What could this mean for the future of the gig economy in India and beyond? As more of these tech-driven platforms mature
Yeah.
and seek access to public funding,
That's a great question.
it's definitely something to think about.
It is. It's a development with far-reaching potential consequences to consider.
Lots to consider.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And we'll see you next time.
See you later.